Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Morning Meditations with me, Josh, and friends. Haven't had any friends on here in a while, so I'm looking for people to lead a morning meditation. If anybody's interested, let me know. I'll reach out to some of you and see if you're interested, and hopefully we can get some more faces on here that are more beautiful than this one. All right. If you've been following along with us, we have been studying the book of Judges, and we're going to wrap that study up here in the next 2 days. Last week, we ended with our study of Samson, who was just a bad dude. And he met his demise mainly because of his own bad choices in life at the deception of a beautiful woman named Delilah. Yeah. So that's sort of where the chronology of the book of Judges ends. A lot of scholars believe that these next closing chapters, 17 through 21, are more like an appendices. They're just sort of these general stories that happened during the time that the book of Judges was written, but because they don't focus on any one judge in particular, that it's just more graphic depiction of sort of the state of Israel during this time, which, as we know very clearly, it says, during this time Israel had no kings, and everybody just did what was right in their own eyes. Sort of like today in that regard. There's like this live and let live, like, oh, don't judge anybody, don't judge, don't try to force your beliefs on anybody, just let everybody do what they think is right, and it'll be all good. Well, it wasn't all good for Israel, and we're going to see that in chapter 17 today with the story of this guy named Micah. So Micah, between Micah and his mom, who have a really weird relationship, he steals money from her, and she's like kind of okay with it. And then they end up commissioning the silversmith in town to use some silver to build this shrine. So he's got this shrine, and Micah wants to create this center for worship in his town, basically so that God will bless him. Like, he's doing it because he thinks that if he does it, and he does it correctly, that God is going to bless him with all of his heart's desires. So he builds this shrine. He's got this idol set up, which he's clearly missing an understanding of God, Yahweh, Jehovah, because he tells his people in the Ten Commandments specifically not to do this, right? Anyway, he goes ahead and he does this, and then he meets this traveling Levite and hires him to be his Levitical priest in his hometown place of worship. So he sets all this up, and then he says, surely now God will bless me because I have this Levite to be my priest. And here we see sort of the original prosperity gospel happening. There's a lot of, it's what we would call today the prosperity gospel. It's this belief that if you're a Christian, if you believe in Jesus, and you're doing it right, that God is going to bless you with all of your heart's desires. You're going to be prosperous and you're going to thrive. And although that's a very feel-good message, and it's very popular among a lot of people, especially in this country, it's not theologically accurate. All you have to do is consider Christians, not only in this country, but outside of our country as well. We know there are hundreds of thousands, millions probably, of Christians who are suffering persecution at the hands of just people who are terrorizing them because they're Christians. So the prosperity gospel doesn't hold water, and some folks who are pro-prosperity gospel might say, well, you're not doing it right? There's something disingenuous about your faith, or, there's something that just doesn't add up. You're not doing it right, otherwise you'd be reaping all these benefits of being a Christian. Don't buy it. That is bogus, okay? So that's exactly what we see with Micah. Micah, he does all this stuff. He's like, yeah, I have this idol. I have this Levitical priest. He's pretty qualified. I'm paying him to be my priest, and surely now God is going to bless me. Well, it doesn't happen. In fact, the opposite happens. There's this tribe called Dan, one of the 12. They haven't been given any land yet. They're just kind of waiting there like, okay, everybody's been given land but us. Like, I don't know, should we go over here? Should we go over there? What do we do? So they send out some some people to scope out the land, and they come up and they find Micah, and they see that he's got this silver idol and that it's not really guarded. So in their travels of looking for a place to live, they basically just rob Micah. You know, they go to his place, Micah's not there. They take all his stuff, including his priest, and the priest kind of puts up a fight. He's like, hey, what are y'all doing? And they're like, all right, how about this? You're pretty qualified, dude. Why don't you come and be our priest? Yeah, because the alternative is, you know, maybe we kill you or you just stay here, and this guy's going to be poor because we just stole all his stuff. So what do you think? And the Levite's like, yeah, okay, I'll go with you guys. So he just leaves, and then eventually Micah comes home. He figures out that he's been robbed, and he's really, really upset about it. He goes after them in pursuit, and it's like their caravan is all strung out, right? And all their, like, that's how people would travel then. And so Micah comes, like, riding up, and he's like, hey, what's up? Why'd you steal all my stuff and my priest? Like, come on, guys, I didn't do anything to you. That's bogus. And they kind of look back at him and say, like, don't even try it, dude. I mean, look, just do yourself a favor, turn around and go home before you get hurt. We don't have any beef with you, but just don't even try. So Micah, realizing, kind of looking down the road a little bit, like, oh man, I don't stand a chance. So he returns home with nothing but his tail tucked between his legs. And that's what you get for being the dude Micah. If you want to go back and read the intricacies of 17, go for it. But that's just my brief synopsis of what happens, which is basically, again, just to highlight how lost Israel was, to think that they can make their own man-made religion and do what they want to do, and that God is going to bless them simply because they've got a few little components in place that are so distorted that it's not even funny. So